world of music journalism?
Yeah, so I had gotten the rave bug after this EDC 2010 experience. Then I got to college and was like, well, now that's the only thing I want to do. I want to go to more shows and I want to like be part of this culture. And you're meeting all these people at the same time and they're also discovering electronic music. And like, that's what you do on like a weekend. You go to a show and you're going to like the Fox Theater in Oakland and like Greek Theater in Berkeley and EPR, the like weekly San Francisco rave night and whatever, all these things. So I was like immersing myself in all this. And then right at the same time was like this explosion of blogs and like electronic music journalism. And just all of these were popping up and they were actually the best place at the time to like find new releases. Like this is pre-Spotify, right?
Yeah.
And like the average consumer is not going to Beatport. So it's how do you find out about new releases and how do you find out about new artists? Like it was blogs and they were just having their peak moment. And I was, studying English. I was like, well, I can write about music. Like I know how to write decently. I have good grammar and I read enough blogs to know that it's really just a pile of adjectives placed around a song.
It's true. That's the secret, folks.
As long as I know enough adjectives, I can be a great
Exactly.
blogger.
I can do this. Let's go.
So I started writing for this like really lowly blog called Electro Jams, and
That's
for
a
a while
good
it
name.
was just-
I dig it. Fuck yeah, Electro Jams.
Yeah, it was my way to like get free, show passes and save money as a college student. And then eventually, like my dream blog at the time was like Dancing Astronaut. Like they were still very new, but just compared to all the other blogs, like they actually had good writers and they were very consistent.
Yeah.
And they seemed just like way more professional than all the other blogs at the time. And I was like, this is where I really want to be. And I think it was like sophomore year of high school, started writing for them. And I just increasingly became a bigger part of their operation over the next like 4 years or whatever. And and then eventually, started doing some freelance stuff for Billboard. And that's how I first, came across your name as well. And it was a long journey of blogging with not a lot of pay, most times no pay, except for some years at the end.
Yeah, we don't love people that don't pay, but we do know that it happens.
And it used to be way more rampant, I feel like, because it was just, this explosion of blogs and people were just excited to be writing. Like you just wanted to be part of this kind of journalism culture that was exploding at the time.
And the culture itself, right? And especially when you are a college kid, it's like you said, you're excited to get out there. And I mean, when I was in college, I was writing for my student newspaper, and I think I got paid like $25 per thing that I wrote, which is almost nothing, but it's cool. And it's like I got to interview Skrillex one time because I told the editors they needed to let me, which is a very funny thing to say in 2021. But
that's true.
It's like, it's cool. And it's a great way to get yourself into this whole world. And what do you, I mean, I guess now it's been quite a while. I don't believe that you are still doing any like writing on the side.
No.
But how was it for you to be interviewing artists and writing about music while you're also kind of like secretly, not so secretly building this universe behind you?
Yeah, well, it's funny because the deeper I went into the blogging journalism career, the bigger caliber of artists I started to be able to interview. And it was at also the very beginning of my artist project. So they weren't aware of my music, but I was able to basically talk to my idols and ask them like any question I wanted, because I would just have to fashion an article out of it at the end. So I'd always sneak in a good amount of questions about just like their production process and like their tips for making it as an artist and like what things they did that really helped them, just mostly out of like personal curiosity. But also, they had good answers and I could turn that into an article. But it was this kind of crazy moment in time where like I'm talking to Carl Cox and Sasha and Richie Haden and like all these crazy producers I look up to. I can ask them literally any question in the world. And like, I'm a new artist. Like I have a ton of questions.
Yeah.
And
you're like, if someone's a new artist, what do you think they should do?
Oh my God. I ended every interview with that.
Yeah. And then you're like, by the way, no.
No, I never plugged myself.
No,
that's one thing.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a level of like respectful taste that has to happen, right? Yeah. You've got to play that tough game.
I felt like I was a sponge. I was just like, I'm talking to these incredibly talented, successful artists. Let me just soak in everything they're saying, and like, what an incredible opportunity that I get to even have this conversation with them.
Yeah. So was there anything that you heard in that sponge era of your life that stuck with you, that you applied to your own project, that you do think was really solid advice, or that maybe you still think about today, or do you have advice for any young artists out there who have this opportunity to hear you talk?
Oh man, there was so much. I mean, the main thing talking to these like icons was that all of them had a vision for their project. Maybe they didn't start out with a vision, but the way they got bigger and got to where they were was by developing a vision and having this very pure idea in their head of what they wanted to do and what they wanted to accomplish. And it didn't have to be so specific as like, I want to make music that sounds like this or this, but they had this kind of dream that they had built up and they had pursued it with such intensity that it became like this flame in their life and the only thing that they were drawn towards. And just, soaking all of that in, and just, it helped me that when I was starting out, I was like, okay, well, like, what's my vision? If I'm going to do this, what do I want to do? How can I make it different? How can I leave a mark? What can I do that's just more than showing up and DJing somewhere and putting out some songs? Like, what would actually make this special and make me excited to wake up every day and like want to do this?
Yeah. And so you stumbled upon what I always think when I think of you as really deep, enriched ideas. Like that became the idea in itself, it sounds like. It was like, wait, let me be really serious about what it is that I'm trying to put together. Talk to me about how you first started to like get that piece of it together. What was like the first story that came to your head that you were like, ooh, I can make that a song, I can make that a mood, I know visual really plays into what you are all about as an artist.
Yeah, I mean, it had mostly arisen just from a love of film and cinema and like loving these huge worlds that they created. Like, the original Blade Runner has always been one of my favorite movies ever. And just, it's this, I actually, tying back to college real quick, I had wrote my like senior thesis on Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
So
which
good.
Is the book that Blade Runner is based on or whatever. So it always had this connection to like, novels and films that were interested in world building. So my whole thing when I started was like, how can I integrate some like world building like that? And the first one was Forbidden City, which was the first track you also played here. And I had gone to Japan, taken this trip there, and just been completely enamored with the whole country and just...
Oh, it's a beautiful place. Yeah, it's hard not to be enamored with it, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
They've done a good job of keeping the like history authentically running through the day to day, which I think is maybe why it's so like enchanting, because you're just like, oh my goodness, like I don't know where yesterday ends and today begins, like what's happening.
And especially going to Kyoto, it just really, really fell in love with that city and seeing all the shrines and temples and the whole mystical air to it and the natural beauty and also the seriousness and like the kind of reverence in some of these places. And that was the idea that stuck with me, is how can I capture this sense of like beauty and sublimity, but also like this reverence. And that was the main song, Forbidden City. That's how that kind of came about. And then it's like, all right, well, if this is like a concept, or like, can I build out a couple more songs within this? And that was the first one. And then Exoplanet, another one you referenced, that was the second one, which I'm just also like a space geek. And I just wanted to do kind of an ode to the idea of planets outside of our solar system that may harbor life and, go deep on that. All of this is basically a way for me to meld my interests outside of music with my music.